What's up, Panthers Nation out there? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, back again with another Panthers video. And today we are reacting to the Panthers win over the Washington football team in the Ron Rivera Bowl. But before we get into that, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button below because, like I said, my name is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, and I do Panthers videos all times of the week. So if you don't want to miss any videos, you got to make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon. That way you get notification every time I drop one. Because, you know, YouTube sometimes, they be playing a lot of games with your boy. You know what I'm saying? They don't always send out the notifications when I drop these videos. So if you don't want to miss any of them, you got to hit the subscribe button. And please give this video a thumbs up to show us some love. It doesn't cost a thing, but it helps your boy out a lot in the algorithm with YouTube to get my message out. So with all that business out the way, let's talk about this game because I know Panthers Nation is in a weird spot right now. You know, there's two different parts of this fan base. There's the fan base that's a little pissed off that we won this game because we went from possibly having the number 3 overall pick after the Bengals won earlier today against the Texans to being at the number 9 slot. And looking at their math now, there's a possibility that the Panthers could fall back to number 13 if they win next week and some other stuff goes their way. They still have a chance to go as high as 3 still. Some other dominoes fall, but they could go back as far as 13. And for all the struggles that we've been through this year, seeing the team improve, it could be a punch in the gut for us to go through all these struggles, only for us to be in the middle of the pack, just business as usual, how the Panthers do. That's what then we'll be stuck in quarterback purgatory. I know we have some misses pieces and stuff like that, but there's a fan base that wants us to lose and is pissed off about this. Then there's the other fan base, that part of the fan base that's pointing the finger and trying to make the other side of the fan base feel guilty. They're like, why would you ever root for your team to be losers? Why would I'm always gonna go into these games wanting our team to win? That's fine. And I feel like there's a gray area in the middle where some fans can be. Okay, like I tell you guys, we're putting in 3 hours every Sunday, not to mention you paying all this money for your merchandise, the beer you drinking, maybe you go to a sports bar to watch these games, maybe you got NFL Sunday ticket. You're putting in a lot of time and money into this team, so you may want to get a proper investment. However, you're not going to stop being a fan of this year, so you want to see the team be set up for future success. You knew you weren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. We've been eliminated from playoff contention for the past 2 or 3 weeks, so you're like, okay, hey, I want to see improvement, but let's not gamble and jeopardize our future because we know we have some obvious holes, and picking higher in the draft gives us the best chance to get the best pick that we want. Granted, I know that there's no science to the draft. I get it, but you still want to put your best foot forward to have your best chance. So it was really weird how you feel about this game. And going against the Washington football team, after they beating a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you thought that, okay, man, their defense is pretty good up front. But then you saw that Dwayne Haskins was going to be a starting quarterback for the football team. And then you were just like, I know our offense and defense isn't dominant, but we're definitely not Dwayne Haskins bad. And I guess Dwayne Haskins is proof in the pudding that picking the quarterback is definitely not a science because he's not it. He's definitely not it. I mean, he just looks disinterested. We know that he's been at the strip clubs the past couple of weeks, and he's been ridiculed by coaches and stuff. And even after the game today, after they took the L, he ducked and dodged the media. So going against this dude, you knew this defense as improved that they have been after especially coming off of a great second half against the Packers last week. You knew this defense was going to be energized and looking to capitalize off their momentum. Over the past 5 games, they've only given up 18 points per game. And that's a long way coming from where we were earlier in this year. Like I said, when we weren't, there were games where we didn't force punts or we only forced 1 punt. So seeing this young defense come around, especially led by Brian Burns, Derek Brown finally coming on the past couple of weeks, and Jeremy Chinn, of course, who's probably going to be the runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year after what we saw this week. This game was really a punch in the gut because you know this defense is going to come out and do its thing, and that's exactly what they did. They were all over Dwayne Haskins. They had 4 total turnovers in this game. 3 of them were forced by the defense. 1 more was on a punt that was muffed by them. They ended up kicking off the scoring party because we struggled a little bit. And as bad as this game was, the defense showed up and did their part the whole time against Dwayne Haskins. So much so that Dwayne Haskins was sent to the bench for a familiar face for the Panthers, Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke did move the ball a little bit down the stretch, but they still were able to only hold them to that 7 points when Taylor Heinicke came in. But coming into this game, I was a little bit hesitant because I saw the injury report and there were some concerns that Brian Burns may not play. He was listed as doubtful. And Troy Pride, we already knew he was going to be out, but not having our best pass rush specialist in Brian Burns could have been detrimental. And what happened is Brian Burns actually did not start. He did have some playing time later in the game and got some plays. He ended up getting a sack, but he did not play as much as he had wanted to because of that knee injury he was dealing with. He also got a stinger during the game after going at Dwayne Haskins one time late in the game. However, Marquise Haynes stepped up big time and got the sack fumble on Dwayne Haskins, filling in for Brian Burns, and that was beautiful to see. We even saw Yetur Gross-Matos make a play on Dwayne Haskins when he tried to scramble on a big third down late in the game too. And of course, our first round pick, Derrick Brown, had 2 pass deflections. He was all over the place, making some plays all around the field, just getting his hustle on. And we love to see that front four get going. We're maybe one big piece on the inside away from this front four being one of the best in the league, because we have a good combination of speed with Brian Burns, size and versatility and strength with Yetur Gross-Matos, but also we have the bulk and the anchor in the inside with Derrick Brown. So adding one more 3 technique, obviously it could be KK Short if we bring him back. It's likely that we won't bring KK back because of the injuries, but getting somebody in there in his place could be the missing piece to really set this whole defense up, because when Derrick Brown has stepped up and we've had some other guys in here, you can see the trickle-down effect to the secondary. Let me give some credit to my guy, Donte Jackson. Donte Jackson, since he's been back from the bye week, once he finally let that turf toe heal up, he has balled out. Balled out. I know Donte has been a love-hate relationship. A lot of people are hot and cold on him, but Donte's really showed up over these past few weeks and played big, especially with Troy Pride struggling most of the time and Rasul Douglas struggling a lot down the stretch. Donte Jackson has really put some stuff together and really stepped up and excelled in this Phil Snow's defense. And I gotta stop right there, because I bring up the man's name, and I've been one of the biggest critics of this guy. I've been one of the big critics, man. Phil Snow. Got to give you your props, bro. Got to give Phil Snow his props. Got to give Phil Snow his props. The past 5 games, like I said before, only giving up 18 points, 3 points given up to the Packers last week, and obviously only 13 points today, only surrendering 1 touchdown to Taylor Heineke. Logan Thomas getting after the quarterback, getting pressure, finally figuring out not to only rush 3 men most of the time and see what you can actually do stuff instead of just sitting back and playing coverage in this league. Granted, I know the opponent wasn't great this week, but capitalizing off the momentum from Green Bay going into this game was big time. We'll get to see what we do against the high-powered offense next week with the Saints, high-powered. But we'll see if they can keep this momentum going. This is what we wanted to see. The defense has pretty much gone exactly as we planned, with them starting off shaky because of all the youth and rookies that they played, but they've slowly gotten better in these last 5 games of the season. They've been pretty good. 18 points. What more can you ask for when on the opposite side of the field, you expect your offense to be able to put up 3 touchdowns? You know what I'm saying? With the weapons we have, you expect the offense to put up more than 3 touchdowns. But it's a good segue to talk about this offense, man. We got to talk about it, because 20 points. Only putting up 20 points, even though your team, your defense, forced 3 turnovers. And 4 turnovers total, and one of them resulted in a touchdown. You know? So that means your offense only put up 13 points. Really? 13 points was produced by this? We have 2 1,000-yard receivers. Robby Anderson went over 1,000 yards. DJ Moore went over 1,000 yards. Mike Davis went over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Curtis Samuel is a problem. He's closing in on 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He's close. I think he has 760-something yards receiving and like 192 rushing. Closing in. And Curtis Samuel balled out. I got to give him his credit. We know the offensive line struggled, especially with Russell Okung being out. Trent Scott got hurt today, which allowed Chase Young to turn up and get these pressure on Teddy, forcing a bad pass and even a fumble. But at the same time, we have the weapons. And early on, we were doing what we were supposed to do. We were getting the ball out quick. We were pounding the rock, bleeding that clock, doing what we needed to do, doing things to that defense that was pretty good by the football team, doing things to that defense that we hadn't done all year. We haven't been that run heavy all year, but we're mixing in Smith, Davis, and Curtis Samuel, giving them 3-headed monster with looks. Curtis Samuel looked like a madman on the outside run he had. That was beautiful. Catching a deep ball finally. We haven't seen Curtis Samuel catch a deep ball since training camp with Cam Newton. Catching a deep ball with Curtis, instead of giving him this little dink and dunk stuff and end arounds and trick plays, they let Curtis get deep. And Curtis had over 100 yards. This might be the first time I've seen Curtis with 100 yards receiving, so shout out to that man. Curtis Samuel's out here proving that he may deserve that check after all. We thought that we'd be able to keep Moten and get rid of Curtis Samuel, but it looks like that we may have to make room for both. We may have to make room for both. But at the same time, we definitely need some cap space to address this offensive line situation. And we definitely need to address this quarterback situation because think about it. The defense forces 4 turnovers. 1 results in a touchdown. The common denominator is the quarterback. Teddy didn't play great. And even ball security comes into front. Some of the sack fumble is not his fault. But he's been putting the ball on the ground a lot lately when it comes to him scrambling. I feel like scrambling isn't really part of his game. He's just done it a lot more this year because that's what's been required. But Teddy Bridgewater has definitely struggled. I said I was not going to beat up on him too much more. But you can obviously see that you have to have all things right. And even then, 4 turnovers, that things still aren't lopsided. It was only 20-13. You expect a lot more, a lot better from your offense that has those type of weapons when your defense gives them 4 turnovers. This is literally the opposite. We expected the offense to be carrying the defense this year. But it's the defense down the stretch that's carrying this offense. I don't know. This is a guy that's been handpicked by Matt Rule or Joe Brady. This is why we brought this guy in. They gave this man 3 years on a contract. Why not give him a 1-year deal on a prove-it deal? Especially when it's his first time being a full-time starter since he was in Minnesota. You give him a contract for 3 years based off 5 games with the Saints, who have one of the best rosters in the NFL. We can question that offseason move a little bit later when the offseason comes. But at the same time, Teddy Bridgewater just had a pedestrian game. What did they have, 197 yards passing? 19 for 28, 197, 1 touchdown. He's only thrown 15 touchdown passes this year. He's averages 1 touchdown pass per game. And I know he missed the game, so I give him credit for that. But this is getting ridiculous, and I don't want to hear the excuses about Christian McCaffrey being out. Christian McCaffrey's been out 12 games. There's no reason you can't adjust to that, and it's not like we don't have the weapons. It's not like we don't have the weapons. We have weapons all over the place. I know the offensive line isn't great, but they did okay early on. Trent Scott getting hurt really hurt us because even though Trent Scott got beat one time by Chase Young, Schofield was pretty much a liability from then on out. Fortunately for us, we were able to just run the ball, and throw it to Curtis when we needed to, that we were able to run the clock out. And also, fortunately, we were going against Taylor Heineke and Dwayne Haskins. So we got let off the hook. Now, we'll see what happens next week when we play the Saints because there's a lot on the line for them because they're still going for that #1 overall seed. And there's a lot on the line for the Panthers because they're looking at draft position. Let's just be real. We're looking at draft position as a fan base. They're looking to win. Now, I wouldn't mind beating the Saints, but I definitely don't want to be the number 13 overall pick. I do want to beat the Saints. Let's be clear. I hate these guys. I hate them. But I do want to beat these guys, man. I do want to beat them. So let's see what happens, man. But you guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about the game. You know, our offense struggled, but they did enough what they needed to do to get the job done. And it's hard to watch, you know, to see your draft position. You have potential to be a number 3 overall pick and probably get that quarterback or at least the tackle Sewell that you want for the future to anchor that blind side. It hurts to watch. But at the same time, you got to be happy with the progress of the defense. Got to be happy about DJ going over 1,000, Robby over 1,000, Mike Davis over 1,000 all purpose, Curtis Samuel closing in on 1,000. You got to be happy with it. So there's some bright spots to pull away, but you got to feel a little bit uneasy about what's going to happen down the line. There's no quit and there's no tank in these guys' blood. So let's just be clear. But it is what it is at this point, man. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I'm Aaron Duncan signing off with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Make sure you guys are subscribed to get more Panthers content and stay up to date. But I'll see you next time. Peace.